ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। Pranams everyone. So we are in this introduction to Vedanta. We saw moksha as the Parama Purushartha of a human life. Parama Purushartha meaning the ultimate goal for any individual. And to attain moksha, one needs to follow certain sadhanas, which is karma, upasana and jnana yoga. And the final step is Jnana Yoga, which is knowledge, and that knowledge of self will give us moksha. The knowledge of who we are will give us moksha. And when we have to discuss about who we are, we need to understand who we think we are first. And we saw that we are typically identifying ourselves with this body-mind complex. And therefore we saw the body to be divided into three Shariratrayam. We saw Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram. And we said all these are anatma. They are not sentient. They are inert objects. They are jadam. And they cannot be I. The Stula Shariram is the physical body which has got Saptadhatu, or it has got 4 parts. The Sukshma Sharira has got 19 parts to it. Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Prana and Mano Buddhi Chittam Ahankara. The Karana Sharira is the seed form of Stula and Sukshma Sharira. Then we divided the same 3 bodies into 5 layers. Pancha Kosha. We saw them as Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manonmaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. The Annamaya Kosha is the physical body and the Anandamaya Kosha is the Karana Sharira. The Sukshma Sharira is divided into 3 layers. Pranamaya Kosha, Manonmaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Then this individual, we saw experience typically, we have 3 states of experience. Avastha Trayam, we saw that in the last class. Where as an individual I have 3 states of experience. One is the waker experience, the dreamer experience and the deep sleeper experience. Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha. And we saw that the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti Avastha, the person, I am the same individual who goes through all these, who has these 3, there are 3 states of experience for the physical body, for the subtle body and for the Karana Sharira. But who am I? Am I the physical body? Am I the subtle body? Am I the causal body? No, I am not the physical body. I am not the subtle body. I am not the causal body. So who am I? That we are going to discuss in this class. Shastra says we are Atma. Atma is an independent factor beyond these three bodies, which lends the consciousness to these three shariras. As I said, the three shariras, the three bodies are jatam, they are inert. They don't have a life principle. The life principle is from Atma. So this Atma makes this Sharira Trayam glow with consciousness. This Atma is the one which makes the Sharira Trayam alive with consciousness. This Atma is the one which makes the Sharira Trayam sentient with consciousness. So Atma is an independent principle. Sharirams are all independent principle. Shariram, we saw, is made out of matter, Panchabhutas. Atma is not matter. Atma is not energy. Atma is Atma. And what is the closest analogy that we can give for Atma with regards to the bodies? The closest analogy is electricity with a bulb. We know that electricity makes a bulb glow with light or brilliance that you see from the bulb is because of electricity. The bulb cannot glow by itself. The filament inside the bulb cannot glow by itself. Other than the bulb, other than the filament, there is another principle called electricity, which makes the filament glow. And only through that filament, it makes the bulb also glow brilliant. So we can compare this with Atma, Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira, the Manas. The electricity is the invisible principle. Only the glowing filament and the body and the bulb are visible. In the same way, Atma is an independent principle which makes this body sentient, which gives life to this body, which allows the mind to think, which allows the Pancha Karmendriyas to function, which allows the Pancha Pranas to systematically function. The Atma is this consciousness principle, the sentiency principle, which allows the body to function. So what is this nature of this Atma? We'll discuss a few nature of the Atma, and then you can put in as pointers. First nature of Atma is Chaitanya Swarupaha. Atma is of the nature of consciousness, which we have been saying so far. So consciousness principle means it cannot be a material principle, because a material principle, matter by itself, is not sentient. So because Atma is a consciousness principle, it is a non-material principle. Atma is not jadam. Atma is not inert. Atma only matter needs to borrow sentiency or consciousness from another principle. Atma is self-illuminating. Just like moon has to borrow the light from the sun for it to glow in the night. you can consider moon to be like the body or the matter, and sun to be the Atma. This is an analogy. Do not take it as an example. Do not say that Atma is sun. It is not the same. So Atma is the consciousness principle. It is Chaitanya Swarupaha. In Sanskritam we say Chaitanyam. So the first feature of Atma is it is a non-material principle. It is of the nature of consciousness. It is Chaitanya Rupaha. Or in short we also say Chit Rupaha. Whenever we say Chit, it means consciousness. So Atma Chit Swarupaha. The second principle is Atma Swatantraha. Atma Swatantraha. Swatantraha meaning independent. Atma is an independent principle. It is not dependent on the body. So it does not depend on any material principle for its production or its existence. The material body does not produce consciousness. The material body does not support the existence of consciousness. Consciousness exists independently. It does not depend on matter for its existence or production. So consciousness, Atma Swatantraha. So Swatantraha meaning it is not dependent on anything for its production or existence. It is an independent principle. This is the second principle. So the first one is Atma Chaitanya Swarupaha. The second one is Atma Swatantraha. Now the third principle, Atma Nirgunaha. Nirgunaha meaning it is free of attributes. It does not have shape, color, form, sound, light. It does not have any attributes. It's not big, it's not small, it's not fat, it's not lean, it's not dark, it's not white. It does not taste. It does not produce sound. So Atma Nirgunaha. Because all these Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all these attributes only belong to the material world. Only if it has been produced by matter, only if it has been produced by Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, which is the 5 elements, only in that case you will have Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. For example, we say that Akasha, the space is linked to sound. You have the 5 elements and you have the 5 sense organs, right? We will try to equate them. Akasha is space. Space is linked to sound. The space is linked to the ears. The space has got only one attribute, which is the sound attribute. Then if you look at the second element, Vayuhu, which is the wind. Now it has got 2. It has got sound. When the wind blows, we can see wind howling, we can hear wind, and we can also feel the wind in our skin. So it's got Shabda and Sparsha. So it has got 2 attributes. Akasha 1, Vayuhu 2, then you have Agni. Agni, fire. Now it's got, Agni can produce sound. It you can feel Agni. If you touch it, you will feel the heat. And it has got a form, it has got a color, it has got a form. You will be able to recognize Agni through your eyes. So Rupa. So now Agni has got three attributes now. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa. Then you take Vayu we finished, Agni, then Apaha, water. Now water has got all four, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. Apart from the fact that it can produce sound, you can touch it, feel it, you can see it, now you can also taste it. It's got Rasa. So it's got four attributes. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Rasa. And then finally Prithvi, the earth, or any solid item. If you see it has got all the five: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. It also has a smell. The earth, the mud, it has got a smell attached to it. So it has got all the five elements, all the five attributes. So the attributes are at the level of the five elements. And this Atma is not made of these five elements. It is an independent principle. It is a non-material principle. Therefore, it is Nirguna. It is attributeless. So it is attributeless, property free Atma. So we saw Atma Chaitanya, Atma Swatantraha, Atma Nirgunaha. Now the fourth one, Atma Nityaha. Atma is ever existent, Nityaha. Atma is ever existence means Atma does not depend on matter. When the body dies, Atma does not die. When the matter perishes, collapses, Atma does not collapse. The consciousness principle, Atma, continue to survive, continue to live. Again, if we look at the bulb example, if the filament goes or if the bulb is broken, it doesn't mean that the light doesn't glow. We know that. But it doesn't mean that there is no electricity. The electricity will continue to exist, but just that the bulb or the filament would have been gone. So similarly, the body might go, the body might perish, but Atma will continue to exist. Non-manifestation of electricity in the form of light does not mean there is a non-existence of electricity. Just because we don't have a body to reflect the electricity, it doesn't mean that there is no electricity. So even when the Sharira Trayam collapses, even when the physical body collapses, even when the subtle body collapses, subtle body when it collapses during Pralaya, even when the Karana Shariram collapses. Karana Shariram, when does it collapse? Only when a person gets Mukti. Even when that happens, Atma continues to survive. Atma continues to exist. So the consciousness principle will continue to exist. Therefore, Atma is Nityaha. And what does it mean by Nityaha? It cannot be, it's a very important concept, Nityaha. It means it is ever existence. It is ever existing. It is ever existing meaning it is not limited by time. time is a dimension within this space. And Atma is not bound by time dimension. So it is Kala Atita. It is beyond time. Atma is beyond time. Normally when you have spatial dimensions, you have there's 3 dimensions: length, breadth, width, and all those things. And then also you have the 4th dimension, which is called these length, breadth, and height is all spatial dimensions. Then you have the 4th dimension, which is time. And what we are saying now is Atma is beyond time. It is Kala Atitaha. So this is the 4th one. Then the 5th one is Atma Sarvagataha. Time and space are interconnected. That's why you have, we say, theory of relativity and all. Time and space are interconnected. Anything that is not limited by time cannot be limited by space also. Anything that is limited by time, it can be limited by space, in space. Anything that is limited in space will be limited by time. Atma is Kala Atita as well as not bounded by space, which means it is Sarvagataha. It is not limited by space. So, if we take our body now, this Shariratrayam, what we are saying is Atma is not limited by this Shariratrayam. Atma Sarvagataha, Atma Nityaha, Atma Swatantraha, Atma is independent, Atma is all pervading, Atma is ever existing, Atma is the consciousness principle. And Atma is Sarva Vyapi, so it's beyond this body. Beyond this body is Atma. Just like you have multiple bulbs. You within the house you have multiple places, you have multiple bulbs. Each bulb is different. Each bulb, one bulb is big, one bulb is small, one is blue, one is red, one is green, one has got some design on it, one doesn't have design, one is plain. So each bulb is different, therefore they glow differently, they have different watts, they shine differently, but there is only one principle which makes them glow, and that is electricity. And electricity is not limited by that boundaries of the bulb. And electricity is invisible. Electricity is not dependent on the bulb. So now I hope you understand this concept. So that is Atma. And because Atma is Sarvagataha, it is all pervading. If it is all pervading, it can be only one, because there cannot be another one. If it is the one itself is all pervading, how can there be another one? So Atma Ekaha. So if there is only one consciousness principle behind all bodies, although there are multiple bodies, multiple jivas, Atma is only one. Atma Ekaha, Atma Advaitaha. Advaitam means there is no second one. Atma Advitiha, non-dual. Non-dual. Advaita means non-dual. So This Atma, if we consider our personality to be the three factors, three bodies, this is the three factors to be the three bodies, then Atma is the fourth factor. And Shastras say there is only one Atma. Bodies are different, minds are different, but there is only one Atma behind all these bodies. The bodies come and go. Just like one bulb fails, another bulb is fitted. Bodies come and go. Bodies are like clothes. They can come and go on the body. So the body, but the Atma remains as one. Atma ekaha, anatma anekaha. There is only one Atma, the anatmas are many. Interestingly, science has not been able to come close to this in terms of the life principle. Some people have agreed life to be consciousness, but some scientists have said that the consciousness comes out of the brain. They say it is produced by brain. But then Vedanta says brain is matter. Matter is not sentient being. It cannot produce anything. It cannot produce life. Life is an independent principle that is actually blessing the brain to work in the way that it should. Just like without electricity, the bulb is dead. It cannot function. Same way, brain or any of the body parts, they are able to function because of consciousness. And how do we actually explain this consciousness? Multiple bodies, but only one consciousness. There is a typical example that is given in Vedanta, and that is a light and hand. So if I say, what do you see here? You say it is hand. When I show this, and it is actually not hand that you're seeing, it is because the light is reflecting on the hand, you are able to see the hand. Without light, the hand will not be visible. Or in other words, without Atma, the body is not functional, cannot function, will not exist. Whether the light is part of this hand, whether light is the property of the hand, no. Whether the light is produced by the hand, no. Light is an independent principle. And whether light is actually bounded by this hand, no. Light is beyond the boundaries of this hand. But light is what makes the hand visible. Even without this hand, light will continue to exist. Atma Nityaha. Just because there is no body doesn't mean Atma isn't there. Just because the bulb has failed doesn't mean that there is no electricity. So Atma is an independent entity. It is not bound by the boundary, it is not limited by the boundaries of the body. It is an independent principle. It continues to exist even after the death of the body. But for the Atma to be visible, the sentiency to be visible, you need a body. Yeah. So this is Atma. And now, what Shastra say? Shastra say, you, the individual, you are thinking yourself to be this body and mind, which is just matter principle. They are not life principles. They exist because of consciousness. What we have to do is to shift our identity from body mind to this Atma. You are not this body mind. You are the independent principle behind this body and mind, which has made the body and mind functional. So this shift of identity is what this Jnana Yoga is about. This is the knowledge of self. This knowledge of self is actually given in multiple ways. Right now we are identifying ourselves with this body and mind, and we have to start negating them. Yanneti neti vachanair nigama avochuhu. We have to do the neti neti principle, negate this, negate that, to identify ourselves to be Atma and not this body mind. And to do this negation, there is a principle used called Drik Drishya Viveka. We'll see that soon. So we will actually try to identify, negate all those things that we think we are, and we will try to arrive at who we are actually. So when we talked about this sadhana chatushtayam, the qualifications needed for us to get into Jnana Yoga, we saw them as Viveka, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutvam. And Viveka we saw as discernment between what is real, what is permanent, and what is unreal and impermanent. Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekam we saw. Now, what is Nitya? Atma. What is Anityam? The body. So, Viveka has to start there. Viveka has to say what is Atma, what is Anatma. That clarity has to come into our mind. That clarity is what is known as Viveka. That is the first step. In Vedantic study, the first step is to understand what is Atma, what is Anatma. The non-material consciousness principle is called Atma. The material Shariratrayam is Anatma. This is the first step. And who is I that I am referring to? The individual. When I say I actually mix both the body mind and the consciousness principle. Because just by the body mind I will not be able to do anything. I cannot walk, I cannot talk, I cannot eat, I cannot run, I cannot grasp, I cannot see. I need the consciousness principle for this material, this inert principle, for this Jadam to function. And therefore I mix both the Atma and Anatma together. When I say I mix them together. I have to learn to separate them out. What is time and space bound? And this separation is not easy, because Anatma, the body, is time and space bound. Whereas Atma is time and space unlimited. It is beyond time and space. Atma. I have to, these two are now have been merged together in my mind when I say I. And therefore I will have to learn to discern it, discriminate it. I will have to learn to understand which is Atma, which is not Atma. And that is the first step of Vedanta, Vedantic teaching. That's the first step of sadhanas that we have to do. So what I should understand first is Atma. When I say self, I should mean Atma. When anything which is not Atma is non-self. But I have learned to identify myself with this body and mind along with this consciousness principle. I'm not being able to separate them out. I have learned to have this attachment, I, over this body and mind. I have got this Sharira Abhimana. I have got this Abhimana on my Stula Sukshma Sharira. I have to slowly remove that Abhimana. And this is the training that a spiritual seeker will have to do. To remove the Abhimana on my physical subtle body. This switch over of identification. The identification right now, when somebody asks me who am I was born so and so, I studied so and so, I did my graduation here, I'm working here, I live here. Everything belongs to the body. If you look at it, date of birth, body, age, body, studied, body, subtle body, intellect, still body. How I feel, mind, still body. Everything that I am referring to as me is all belongs to that anatma portion. This biodata is still needed for worldly transactions. We are not saying it shouldn't be, tomorrow onwards we shouldn't be saying I am Atma. From a worldly standpoint, from dealing with people, when dealing with this world, we will have to deal as if we are this body mind. But internally, we should know that I am not this body mind. I am Shuddha Chaitanya Atma. Aham. So far I have been studying as Atma Nirvikara, Atma Nitya, Atma Sarvagata, all those things. Nirguna, Atma Nirguna. Now I will have to start using as, so far I have been using as third person. Now I will have to say it as first person. Aham Chaitanya Swarupaha. I am consciousness principle. Aham Swatantraha. I am independent. I do not depend on this body for my existence. I am immortal. Aham Nirgunaha. I am not attribute. I don't have attributes. I don't feel I am weak. I don't feel I am angry. I don't feel I am sad. I am jealous. I am rich. I am poor. It's all in the body. Atma Nirgunaha. Aham Nirgunaha. Aham Nityaha. I am ever existence. Aham Swatantraha. Aham Sarvagataha. I am boundless. I exist everywhere. Aham Ekaha. I am one. I am not. I am the single consciousness behind all these entities. This is the jnana that one has to reach to. If a person is able to identify at this level, then this person has attained moksha. This is the level of mukti. What is moksha? To identify oneself as Atma. Aham Brahmasmi. This Atma is also called as Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Not Brahman. Not Brahman is different. Brahma is different. Brahmin is different. Do not confuse three. Brahma, one of the trinities. We say Brahma created this world. That is different. That is Bhagavan or Ishvara, who is Saguna Ishvara. And then you have Brahmana, which is actually a Varna. That is different. Then you have another Brahmana, which is in the Vedas also. There is a portion called Brahmana. That is different. And then this is Brahman. Brahman is consciousness. The consciousness existence principle. Otherwise also called as Atma. Otherwise also called as Sat-Chit Ananda. Sat-Chit Ananda. We saw Chit right now, consciousness. We haven't seen Sat principle, Ananda principle yet. We'll see them later. Sat Chit Ananda is Brahman. So, this Brahman, how can I understand Atma is Jnana Swarupam? This Atma is, we say, as Jnana Swarupam. Jnana Swarupam meaning it is the knowledge principle. Because Jadam, the body, Anatma is Jadam. It doesn't have any intelligent principle behind it. The intelligent principle comes from Brahman, Atma. So Atma is the one which is aware. And this Atma is the one which experiences the Anatma. How do I experience? How am I able to actually distinguish Atma from Anatma? How can I train myself to own up to the Atma and not to the Anatma? We have a technique in Vedanta which is called as Drik Drishya Viveka. There are multiple ways to actually identify Atma. One way is Drik Drishya Viveka. Drik Drishya Viveka meaning subject-object discernment. Drik, subject, Drishya, object, discernment. To identify what is subject, what is object, through that differentiation, I will try to understand who am I. So this is a methodology of in Vedanta, in Advaita Shastra, we say train the mind to disown, to disclaim the material Anatma which I have been wrongly referring to as self. This is called as Drik Drishya Viveka. Now, before I go to Drik Drishya Viveka, a couple of things that I saw, which I brought up in the last class also. We saw that Nirvana Shatkam, that is another way to do that. In terms of auto-suggestion, Nirvana Shatkam says, Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham Nacha Shrotra Jihve Nacha Grana Netre Nacha Vyoma Bhumir Na Tejo Na Vayuhu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Nacha Prana Sayyo Na Vaipancha Vayuhu Nava Sapta Dhatu Nava Pancha Kosha Navak Pani Padam Na Chopasta Payuhu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. In the first two stanzas, it negates all the physical body and the subtle body. And it says, I am Chidananda Rupam, Chit Ananda Swarupam, Chidananda Rupam, Shivoham Shivoham. I am the Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa. I am the consciousness principle. The third, fourth, it goes further. Name Dvesha Ragau, Name Lobha Moho, Madonaiva, Mainaiva, Matsarya Bhavaha. Na dharmo na charto na kamo na mokshaha Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. There it negates all the emotions. It even negates all the purusharthas. Na dharmo na charto. Na dharmo charto na kamo na moksha. I am not the dharma. I am not the artha. I am not the kama. I am not the moksha. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So that is one other way of practice. In terms of once we start understanding these concepts, we have to be clear in this concept, and then when we actually chant those slokas, we would be able to understand and do a self auto suggestions. And then there is also this Pratas Marana. There's another beautiful sloka. Pratas Maranam chanted in the morning. It goes like this: Pratas Marami Hridi Samsuradatma Tattvam Satchit Sugam Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagra Sushuptam Avaiti Nityam Tad Brahmanishkalam Maham Nachabhuta Sangaha. If you see the third line, it says, it negates the three states. Pratasmarami Hridi Samsuradatma Tattvam Satchit Sukam Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagrat Sushupti Mavaiti Nityam. I am the one which is the constant behind all these three states of experience. So that is a 3-stanza shloka, which is also good to chant for this kind of an auto suggestion. And there it will also say Yenneti neti vachanair nigama avochuhu tam deva deva majam achyutam ahuragrayam. There we say neti neti. We negate whatever we think we are. And one of the negation techniques is the Dridrishya Viveka, which we will see in the next class. I just want to, because it's quite a substantial one, I don't want to start off and stop in between. But Dridrishya Viveka is basically to negate everything that I experience as not me. Anything that is experienced cannot be me. I see this laptop. I cannot be this laptop. I see this phone. I cannot be the phone. Anything that I experience cannot be me. I experience my hand. So I cannot be my hand, because I say my hand. Anything that can be objectified cannot be the subject by itself. So this is the technique that we will use. We'll go to that in the next class. I'll just take some questions, because today Atma is a very important topic. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. In our rituals, there is a lot of focus on who is who for moksha. That is, once a body expires, lots of rituals are performed for the moksha of the person. But Vedanta says that we shouldn't identify with matter. How to resolve this? Okay. First of all, moksha has got two parts to it. One, Jivan Mukti. Two, Videha Mukti. And this Jivan Mukti is only available for Advaita Vedanta, or Advaita Vedanta alone says there is Jivan Mukti. And Jivan Mukti here is about understanding that you are the self. Once you understand you are Atma, then any limitations that are on the body, mind is not you, is not your problem. And therefore we do not feel any problem in whatever we in this world. So that is Jivan Mukti. Now there is also this Videha Mukti where we say the Sukshma Sharira does not take another physical body as a reason of, as one of the corollaries of, or as one of the benefits of understanding that you are self, you are this Atma, you will not get another physical body. You, in that particular sense, is the subtle body that leaves the physical body. That subtle body will not take another physical body. The rituals are performed with that impression in mind that that subtle body should actually not take another physical body. It is done out of that particular attitude. Okay, so moksha is understanding that I am Atma. That is called as moksha. Aham Brahmasmi. If I am able to call that out, if I am able to with conviction say, Aham Nitya Mukta Swarupa Atma, Aham Chidananda Rupa Swarupa, Aham Satchit Ananda, Aham Brahmasmi. If I am able to say, I have got moksha. Second part of that moksha, which is the subtle body not taking up another physical body, is why we do those rituals. So that the subtle body does not take another physical body. But understand, if a person has been able to identify oneself as Brahman, as Atma, and has been able to disown the ownership with regards to this body, then this person will not take another physical body whether the rituals happen or not, because it is the law of nature. Is my understanding right that the only way for attaining moksha is only by knowing and realizing the Atman, by removing my ignorance through jnana? Yes. That's why we said Karma Yoga or Upasana Yoga cannot give you moksha. Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga are necessary but not sufficient conditions for moksha. Jnana Yoga alone will give you moksha. Jnana Yoga, jnana meaning knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of oneself. And only that through that knowledge of self will one get moksha. And what is this ignorance that we have to remove? The ignorance that we are trying to remove here is the ignorance that I think that I am this body and mind. I consider myself to be this body and mind. That is the ignorance. The ignorance that I consider myself to be this body and mind, that has to be removed. And that can be removed only if I say who you really are. And once I'm able to identify who I am really am, then I will be able to remove this ignorance. And by removing this ignorance, I attain moksha. So the role of son, daughter and anyone else related to the expired person is only ritualistic. Only the individual himself can attain moksha by his own jnana. Yes. Having said that, please understand, the rituals are needed because not everybody will be able to attain moksha in a Janma. So these rituals are not just for attaining the moksha there. The rituals are done to ensure that the subtle body is able to get a proper physical body in the next life. And until the time that it has to take another physical body, for the time that it will have to be between bodies, and even after taking bodies, these rituals will help these other the expired person's sukshma sharira for its journey. So the rituals are necessary, and we do not know whether that person has attained jnana or not. For that matter, we will not even know when a jnani actually expires whether that person was a jnani or not. Only that person himself or herself will know whether they have attained jnana or not. Nobody else can make or pass that judgment. And therefore these rituals are needed for ensuring that that subtle body is able to get a really good physical body in the next life, and it also helps in the journey from this body to the next body. It is explained in chapter 15 and chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita. What happens to the subtle body after the death. So when we take Bhagavad Gita class, you will come to know all that. The concept of Atma is deep. When does the subtle and causal body dissolve? What happens at Mukti and Moksha? We will discuss this. We will discuss this in the subsequent classes when we discuss Moksha. This will be described in detail, but I just gave a one-liner even now that the subtle body takes another body for a non-mukti person, for an ignorant person, and for a jnani, the subtle body merges with the cosmic subtle universe. Anybody typing? Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, we will see Drik Drishya Viveka in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha. Go Brahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.